Hello, my name is Brian Springer, and I'm the North America Technical Manager for Alltech Crop Science. Today, I want to try and answer a little bit or give a little bit of an idea about a common question that I get when it comes to growing some of our feed crops. And that is there anything that we can do while growing the crop to help reduce the risk of some of the mycotoxin problems that we see in our feedstuffs? And so maybe we ought to start just a little bit about what the mycotoxin is and where it comes from. And basically, a mycotoxin is a byproduct from usually molds and fungi, things of that nature, but we'll focus on some molds. But it's a byproduct. So whenever a mold, say like Fusarium, is under stress, whether that is weather stress or nutritional stress, whatever it is, but whenever it's under stress, they will release these mycotoxins as a defense mechanism. They accumulate in the crop and then accordingly on into the feedstuffs because you can't really get rid of them. You can bind them. There's some other things that can be done with some different technologies in the feed. But from a crop aspect, once they're produced, they're there in that crop. So what we have to do and what we need to focus on is breaking that cycle and reducing the potentials and reducing that overall risk as we're growing that crop. So immediately, a couple of things come to mind that we want to approach and we want to look at, and that's how can we break that cycle of mold? How can we keep that fusarium from going from one season and carrying over through the residue into the next season? And one of the basic things is let's look at our rotations. If you're using continuous cropping, continuous corn or things of that nature for a silage crop or anything like that, then that's going to build that potential up because you've got a lot more carryover of the fusarium and other bad things and other diseases that you don't really want. So again, rotations are a key component of it. Another thing is tillage can help to bury some of that and help the breakdown of some of those diseases. But the thing of it is, we really, there's a lot of good benefits from no-till and reduced till, and we don't want to just, start plowing again. We don't want to go back to those days and trying to do those types of things. So again, because that soil structure, as you till, every time that you till, what you're doing is you're actually damaging some of the good fungal colonies that we do need and that are very competitive against fusarium and other diseases. So we need these fungal colonies, and they grow much, much slower than bacteria. And so every time that you till, you're reducing your good fungi populations, and it gives the opportunity for your bad bacterial populations to increase. So again, we want to try and work within that. And one of the technologies, one of the areas that we look at is trying to mimic what goes on in the soil anyway. So what happens is if in nature, and I don't care whether it's in the soil or on a crop or whatever it is, when two microbes bump up against each other, what happens is they exude metabolites to try and push the other one back because one of them is going to become food for the other. And then that whole problem. So we want to try. That's what's happening. So with Alltech Crop Science, what we have is some technology to where we can mimic some of those metabolites, and we can help to push the good colonies that we want to grow. And then what they do is by getting those numbers built up really high and strong, they continue to fight all season long against the bad microbes that are out in the soil. So we're kind of a catalyst. We help things to get started, and that pushes that balance back out there. So that's one way that we can approach as far as trying to help break that cycle, push some things, and trying to help your soils naturally help to break up some of those cycles and work with this. Another area that we get a lot of questions is there anything that we can spray on my growing crop to get rid of the disease? And yes, you can spray fungicides on these crops, and it does help to reduce the mold itself, to reduce the fusarium mold. But there's some things that you really need to keep in mind when you're doing that. There's been a lot of research done by land grant universities over the years, from going all the way back to like 7-8 years now. And what happens is if you use some chemical family, some of the strobilurins, what happens is it does kill 40-50% of the particular mold, the fusarium, but the remaining population is under so much stress that it can actually produce more mycotoxins than if you left it alone. So remember, going back, what creates a mycotoxin is stress on the mold. So if a fungicide is not 100% lethal, which they are not, you do take the risk of increasing those mycotoxins with certain chemistries. So as an alternative, again, we look at some of these metabolite situations or metabolite technologies in order to help the natural system work a little bit more efficiently. So again, and when using those metabolites, they do not create that spike or that stress on the mold, and it does not increase the mycotoxins. So again, real quick, those were a couple of things that we get. Those are a couple of little tidbits to keep in mind, to look forward to try and pay attention to. And for more information, please go over to knowmycotoxins.com. That's KNOW, mycotoxins.com, for more information. Thank you.